Well, what's exciting, what I find extremely exciting about Pathways to Children is the opportunity it offers all of us. The mission is really unique in the sense that it centers around and focuses on children first and foremost. And of course, as we all know, children offer both a bright future for the world as well as possibilities for chaos as well. And if children's energies are harnessed well, they can indeed create just phenomenal outcomes for all of us.
I recently went on the trip in January to Calcutta with the group, and I remember leaving for the trip and thinking that this is kind of silly, that we're going to go and bring school supplies and things like diaper rash cream, and this was going to make a difference. What I wasn't realizing is that the difference it was going to make was in me. It's in the participant, that you get to see what you're doing and what's needed.
You know, I spent a lot of years living in New York City, so I thought that I was prepared for Calcutta, another big city, millions of people. And it took me about 30 seconds of being in Calcutta to realize that nothing prepares you for being in Calcutta. Just all of the different people and just the poverty that's constantly surrounding you is an overwhelming experience. And there's so many different degrees of poverty. Just when you think you've seen it, the next moment you turn around and you see something else that you weren't expecting. One of the first programs that we saw was through Mercy Hospital in Calcutta, and they have a feeding program that starts out in the inner city of Calcutta and then expands throughout the countryside. And so we were able to join the program, see them first thing in the morning at 4:30 a.m. when they were cooking up all the food and loading it into the pots and then loading it, or putting it in the pots, loading it on the trucks and heading out to the areas where the food would be distributed.
I attended a trip to Calcutta with Grace and her team, and it was a marvelous experience, really life-changing. I was amazed at how beautiful the country was when you look around and you see the waterfalls and the lush jungles, and then to go into the city and see the poverty was just amazing. I had a really unique experience while I was there. With the team, we went to a blind and deaf school. Well, we went to a blind school, and some of the children were deaf. And while I was there was a small child who was off to the side, and she was just crying hysterically. And all of the blind children are over there touching and feeling her and trying to console her. And what we found out was that she was just brought down from a jungle village that day, and she didn't speak the same language as the children and the teachers at the orphanage. And so she felt like she was scared that maybe she had been kidnapped. There was no way to communicate. Her parents had just left her. So I went over and I picked her up and I just held her and just sort of did one of those things that you would do with a baby, shush, 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 and gave her a kiss on her forehead and just held her as tight as I could and rocked her until she fell asleep. And there in my arms was this beautiful child that her parents threw her away. And it took everything in my heart not to break down in tears right there, but I held her for a while until the teacher came and said, you probably should put her down and put her to bed. She'll be good now until the morning. And in the morning they had a translator there who was able to tell her where she is and that she was safe and stuff. And it was experiences like that over and over again that we had no matter where we went. Grace is building a beautiful orphanage and it's run by wonderful people. And to go and see those children who had nothing and are now in a safe environment was just overpowering. One person can make such a big change, and I didn't realize that before I went to India. Going there, they need so much support. It's such a poor country, and these children are left without parents or without education, and people like Grace and Pathways to Children are taking a grassroots effort and finding others like myself and the team that went with us who really want to focus and make a difference.
I was fortunate enough to go with one of the women on our trip who was an audiologist, and I went with her and one other woman, and we did hearing testing on blind children. They were children from the blind school. So in addition to being blind, they also had very limited hearing, and we did testing. We made special arrangements with a hearing clinic to use their machines, and a lot of them had never heard sounds, and they so wanted to get the right answers. It's just, raise your hand, and they would sit and try so hard to hear things. And we did testing on about a dozen of them, and maybe half or 8 of those we were able to fit with hearing aids that were donated by a local company, Resound, here from Minneapolis, that we brought over hearing aids and were able to fit the children. And when they heard for the first time, they were just like...
Grace is always looking for ways to help anybody that's in need, especially she has a real passion for orphans, and there's so many orphans in India. And so after hearing her speak so passionately about that and her previous experiences there, I was really anxious to help as well in any small way that I could. And being an audiologist, it was a natural fit for me to be doing the hearing aid fittings over there for Grace and for those children. One of the most touching was when I was doing a hearing aid fitting on a small boy, and I put the hearing aid on for the first time, and his face lit up with a light from inside that I hadn't seen before during any of the testing that I had done. And that feeling, knowing that I had helped him in just a very small way, I felt so fortunate, and that really made me thankful that I was able to do something like that for him. It was a really special moment.
In Kerala, there's a program that Grace was affiliated previously of a school and an orphanage that was there. She's built a new orphanage with the funds from Pathways, and we did the christening of that building. Actually, is it called a christening? Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. A christening of the building, and met the students that would be going to the school. It was just starting up. And now through this past year, we're working on getting a teacher and the curriculum and more students then to come to the orphanage and for the school. Oh, the school was fantastic. And again, you're working with children who are just so happy to have interaction, and they, although they're children, they truly know that somebody is there to help them. We brought over some supplies, materials, and then have also set up some assistance programs there to help sustain people there to work to make aprons and to make things.
We at the Peace Corps used to have a program that served communities all over the world. With Pathways to Children, there's a similar opportunity for us as Americans to go and serve abroad. And when we do that, it gives a totally different image and feeling about what America is and what Americans are all about. It's far more powerful than any giving that we may do otherwise. So I encourage you to come with us and experience firsthand the opportunity to serve the needy abroad. Thank you.